Tell me, how was your relationship with Barbie in the past, and did that understanding of Barbie change throughout the course of making this film?
What are you, gay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, boys don't play with that.
That is correct.
That's like on the other team, you know?
Paging Dr.
And I'm so glad this movie exists because I really think it just puts that fine of that just like very idea of like what gender is.
Barbie star Simu Liu says the film finally puts that nail in the coffin of that very heteronormative idea of what gender is. Simu Liu, this highly intelligent actor who has such a high intellect, such a great grasp of understanding of the English language, that when former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, who was fired in the middle of the night on a Sunday, said that the release strategy for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings would be an interesting experiment to see how the day and date release strategy works for Disney+. Simu Liu, of course, took exception to that. We are not your experiment. We are not some experiment. We're not to be used as a test. We are proud people. Simu Liu thought he was talking about Asians. Bob Chapek was simply talking about the release strategy of the movie. Simu Liu is a complete fucking idiot.
He's a monster.
This man has no brain in his head whatsoever. Any brain he does have is simply used to memorize and repeat lines, talking points, things his agents want him to say and publicists want him to say because he is as vapid and hollow as any other piece of shit in Hollywood today. Hi, Etep Wakuian. Good to be back. Another video. Still working on the bigger ones behind the scenes, but I figured in the meantime, in between time, we'd talk about this that came out yesterday from Bounding Into Comics. Now, I have strayed away from covering Bounding Into Comics articles, although one comes along across your desk, sometimes you have to. Now, I faced some criticism recently from some random commenter who had never commented on a video before until I did the Peter and David Paul video, and he said, you know, you're just reading Wikipedia, you're just reading the article. And are you new to YouTube?
Smell shame.
And then he tried to break it down. Anyway, I read through it. It's humorous. We'll cover a few points. I'm not going to read it verbatim. But I just wanted to use this opportunity to talk about how stupid Simu Liu is. I mean, that whole day and date release strategy comment where he just completely melted down and made it a race thing was like, this right here just shows how fragile that this man is. And to say this film puts the final nail in the coffin of the very heteronormative idea of what gender is. Heteronormative is a made-up word, okay? It's one of those made-up words like cisgender, which was made up by a...
I will have your son.
And we all know that. And if you deny that, you're... So, Simu Liu talking about Barbie breaking down the heteronormative idea of what gender is. Gender is not a heteronormative idea. Gender is biological fact. And there's two genders. And mental illness. That's it, folks. You can disagree with me all you want. You can cite junk science that's government sponsored, but that is, at the end of the day, just junk science that's government sponsored. And if you try to say, well, look at the Secretary of Health, look at Rachel Levine, that's a man. That's a man. Let's not get that twisted. That's a man. So Barbie star Simu Liu says the upcoming Greta Gerwig film is worthy of praise for how it puts the final nail in the coffin of society's current concepts of gender and addresses the supposed representational imbalances found in kids' toys. This is really what I want to focus on. This man is nothing but a living embodiment of what virtue signaling would look like if it was a person. Simu Liu is so stupid. It makes me sad that I have to share a birthday with this asshole. It really does. But let's dig into the meat of this article and see what his comments are. At the start of the interview, Deckelmeyer opened up by asking Liu, how was your relationship with Barbie in the past, and did that understanding of Barbie change in the course of making this film? This is funny because if somebody asked me this question, my literal answer would be, my sisters had Barbies, and sometimes G.I. Joe would go on furlough and get with Barbie. Yo, Joe! Outside of that, they were there, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, really. In all seriousness, though, like, you're asking a guy, a man. I can't even call Simu Liu a man because he's so effeminate and bitch-made. No, and I know somebody out there's gonna be like, well, he knows martial arts. Oh my God, seats. Cool. You're asking, this kind. Can you imagine in like 1987, an interviewer asking like Sylvester Stallone what your relationship with Barbie was? I slept with a stripper named Barbie. You know, I slept with a doll. I called the doll. That doll come over here and fly, you know? It's such an asinine question. Now, I do understand, yes, he's in the movie, so it is a leading question to get him to, you know, talk about the movie. I, of course, am being facetious. But let's see what Simu's answer was. In turn, instead of offering a more human answer, such as, oh, I played with another toy, or just simply and understandably admitting he didn't want to play with a product marketed explicitly towards girls, Liu offered a diatribe of critical theory jargon, because that's exactly what Simu Liu does. That's what these idiot actors do. And listen to this. I didn't really have a relationship with Barbie in the past, replied the virtue-signaling addicted actor. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a society where traditional gender norms are pretty heavily enforced and pretty prevalent. And so I think maybe you were taught from a very young age, boys don't play with that, boys don't wear pink.
Yada, yada, yada.
And for very good reason, because we want men to be men and women to be women, and men don't like their women with dicks. Oh, I hate. We live in the worst timeline. We live in the absolute worst fucking timeline possible. I mean, you've got men dressing up in drag and arguing that it's okay that I spread my legs in front of children, thief. You biggest, the church is a bigger threat because God knows having belief in a deity greater than yourself and using it as a guiding moral compass is far worse a sin than taking kids to see a drag show. You bigot, racist, incel, neckbeard, blump the borders.
Pack your things. We're leaving.
We live in the worst timeline. We live in the absolute worst timeline, folks. So Simu says, you know, colors became gendered, toys became gendered. There were all these rules that were imposed on us, he continued. So Barbie was always like, oh, that's not my toy. And so I'm glad that this movie exists, because I think it puts the final nail in the coffin of that very heteronormative idea of what gender is.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
And what is or is not gendered? How can you make color gendered, you know?
You are one pathetic loser.
What a brilliant man. Simu Liu, Rhodes Scholar, Nobel Laureate, folks. You know, finest finishing schools on the Eastern Seaboard. And, you know, star of the most successful Marvel movie. Shang-Chi was a piece of shit that lost money. I'm sorry. Shang-Chi was an amazing movie, thief. It was great. No, it wasn't. It lost money, and nobody gave a shit. I mean, the budget was, well, never mind. Back to the Barbie fun, though, folks. Back to the Barbie fun. Simu says, over the course of this movie, I've seen, been around, worn, and played with more pink than I ever thought possible, and it was so great.
What a story, Mark.
Liu further recalled, and it's so great to be free to express yourself in all the ways you feel like you want to, and not to feel like because something is attributed to a certain gender or certain idea that you can't also do that. That's what... That's, I think, what's really stuck with me about being in this movie. What's evolved in my understanding of Barbie and what it is and what I hope that an audience will get from it when they watch the movie. No, you just want a paycheck, dude. Liar! Simu Liu doesn't care about anything in this that this guy asked him about. Oh, gendered toys and heteronorm. These are talking points. I mean, if you're listening to interviews and you're listening to the things that these actors say, and you're not realizing that these are rehearsed, clearly written out talking points that they're instructed to give.
Now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Following this answer, Deckelmeyer indulged his own interests and angled the conversation from Barbie to arguably one of the line's greatest economic rivals, Power Rangers. Oh, see, this is funny right here. Impressed by the Screen Rant host on whether or not he could quote any line from Forever Red, the famous crossover episode of the Power Rangers Wild Force, which featured the return of several previous Red Rangers, Liu laughed that he could not quote any line before asserting, "May the power protect us," and using the question as a leaping off point for further discourse. This is my second interview in a row that I referenced Power Rangers because I think we were talking about toys. And I was talking about how I played a lot of Power Rangers when I was a kid, recalled the actor. I was a huge Power Rangers fan, so I had a lot of those toys. We were talking about the representational element of the Power Rangers, right? And I was figuring it out in real time. Like, oh yeah, why the Power Rangers appealed to me so much. And I think it was because I always felt very much a part of that world, he admitted. I felt like I was always represented. And this is funny. There was very on-the-nose representation. It was like black person, Black Ranger, yellow person, Yellow Ranger. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely there. And it was definitely trying.
Ooh, he's trying!
Oh, yeah. And then I was talking about Barbie. Yeah, see, and this is the thing. It's funny because they've always had the Barbie. This is 1970. Yeah, right here. Look. See, they introduced a black Barbie in 1968, her friend Christy. A proper black Barbie would be available for purchase in 1980. So for them to, say that, oh, well, it's not representative in the toys and yada, 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 and Simu Liu just virtue signaling his way through this interview and, gender heteronormativity and all these made up and fun buzzwords that these idiots like to parrot now is humorous because you're talking about a guy who is an adult pretender. This guy gets paid to play pretend, and that's what he's doing in all of these interviews. This is not who Simu Liu is. Simu Liu doesn't care about, gendered ideas of toys and colors. And I mean, really, this guy cares about getting a payday and when his next payday is going to come. That's what Simu Liu cares about. And, spare me the whole, he's so virtuous. He does care. Hollywood does care. Yeah, Hollywood really cares, don't they? They really care. That's why the mainstays in Hollywood are, downing on a movie like Sound of Freedom and calling people who want to bring attention to the problem of human trafficking, especially that of children. They want to call us conspiracy theorists, QAnon, and that's insane. But yet you want to take the word of somebody like Simu Liu and, oh my God, we've solved the gendered toy problem, folks. Society has saved these. Don't break your arm jerking yourself off there, bud. You didn't solve anything. You didn't do anything. You've contributed nothing to the betterment of society. All you've done is play pretend in shit roles and shit movies and act in front of a green screen and get emasculated in Shang-Chi and let your sister look like the hero. That's it, folks. That's the video for today. What do you think of Simu Liu's virtue signaling and grandstanding on behalf of Barbie? I mean, this is the biggest virtue signal. I seriously, it's so funny. Like, you're trying to act like, oh my God, I've always accepted Barbie. No, you didn't. As a kid, you're probably like, I ain't playing with Barbies. I'm not gay. Like, seriously, dude, that's probably what this kid did. So that's it. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Etep. We've got a lot more coming up this week. We've got the Cynthia Rothrock video. We've got a Think Big review. And we got holy shit news tonight. I'm everywhere you want to be, like Visa, MasterCard. Subscribe. It's free. It always will be. If you're so inclined, you can join as a channel member. Kazooians, $2.99. Harvey Wakuian, producer tier, $4.99. You can follow us on Subscribe Star. for, I think, $5 a month. Check it out, folks. If not, like I said, just subscribe. It's free. It always will be. Subscribe to everybody. All the horsemen, their links are in the description. I'm Etep from the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of you. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all day.
Cruise, thank you very much.
What's up, bro?
You're pushing your luck, little man.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.